After class 12th, I moved to Allahabad University. My family always had a tradition of everybody going to Allahabad to do their graduation right from my grandfather days. So I went to Allahabad University and I studied psychology. In graduation, I did my political science and I did my ancient history. What I am trying to say is, till 12th I had PCM, physics, chemistry, maths. लेकिन मुझे समझ में नहीं आती थी ज़्यादा. I always felt यार ये क्या मतलब I only appeared in one examination for engineering, that was Roorkee entrance examination. And Roorkee entrance examination at that point of time used to have general knowledge and English also as a paper. तो जिनको physics, chemistry, math नहीं आती थी वो उसमें कुछ नंबर ला के इज्जत रख लेते थे घर के ऊपर. So I realized after that exam कि PCM is not made for me because of family pressure. You do your physics, chemistry, math because people think कि अगर maths नहीं पढ़ी तो कुछ नहीं किया या science नहीं पढ़ी तो कुछ नहीं किया, but it was all not rightly placed. Many of you would have gone through the similar stage in life. You would have studied something which you did not want to. You must have realized after getting into a course that this is not really making much of sense for me. But life is all about these experiences and ups and downs. How many of you are engineers? Raise your hand. Some of you. I have a huge respect for the engineers because वो 11th 12th के बाद वो अगले 4 साल भी साइंस की दुनिया में रहते हैं. पता नहीं कैसे रहते हैं, मुझे समझ नहीं आता, लेकिन वो रहते हैं. And when I interview people in my company, engineers, and I do immersion sessions with them, as a first there's a respect. Second, there is a amusement that why you continue to do this, because I think that I have also done equally well while doing my political science and doing my ancient history. So I realized, and when I came to the university, I got into students' politics. So in second year, I became secretary of my hostel, which was a very renowned hostel in Allahabad University. It only used to produce IS officers. And I also thought that I'll also become an IS officer. Aspirations life में नीचे नहीं होनी चाहिए. Second year I contested election, and UP, Eastern UP, generally माहौल सब अपने आप को प्रधानमंत्री समझते हैं वहाँ पे. Everybody thinks that they are part of a government decision making and they can make the government and they can break the government type of a thing. चौराहों पे यही conversation होता है. I did that and my father was damn upset. He was saying यार ये कर क्या रहा है वहाँ जाके. And at that point of time, in country, Mandal Commission agitation started. I don't know how many of you, most of you would not remember, you wouldn't have really been born at that time. But if you read, you'll realize that after Mandal Commission, the whole social dynamics in the country changed. And we all were part of that agitation, and whatever happened, it affected our sessions, it affected our studies. It affected a lot of people's aspirations and dreams of becoming an IS officer and all that. I took first exam in my life after that Roorkee disaster, and that was a combined defense services exam. I had still not finished my graduation. I was still third year का exam खत्म हुआ था, results नहीं आए थे. And I went and appeared for that, and it had a huge section on English as a language and a huge section on general knowledge. And I always felt that I am good in these two areas, and a bit of reasoning part. And after a couple of months, result came out and I got selected. And so combined defense services, the person who really wants to become a civil servant has to really come down to or think of getting into the forge. And as a 10th, 11th student, I had done NCC, so I was also interested in wearing a uniform. And after that, the real story started. And why I'm telling you is life is a big level up. Never think that you are less than anybody else. Whether you are in NDIM or IM, it doesn't make any difference. Life will start once you will finish your education, and when you will jump into the ring to fight with people who are equal. And I have a lot of myths which I have broken over a period of time in my career about campuses, type of profiles, pedigree and all that stuff. I went to Bhopal for my selection round, and why I am telling you is just at least you will get some idea how life changes. मैं जब भोपाल गया इलाहाबाद से selection process के लिए, there were 70 students from different parts of the country who had come for the selection round. Services selection board होता है. How many people know this? Some of you must have. Services selection board होता है. 5 दिन का selection process होता है. It is not that 1 hour interview and then you are through. And it is said that you basically, they observe officer-like qualities. They say that, I think that we need people who have officer-like qualities. And what is that officer-like quality? Nobody knows. But everybody wants to really follow that. तो स्टेशन से एक दूसरे का लगेज उठाना शुरू कर देते हैं, कम तो मैं हेल्प यू, सीट छोड़ना शुरू कर देंगे, तो मतलब everybody thinks that I am being observed and I need to really present myself as a magnanimous, helpful, team worker and all that stuff. And there were a lot of guys from Chandigarh, Delhi, English medium, kids of well-to-do parents, and everybody after 3 days what happens? People start assuming कि यार इसका तो हो जाएगा, मतलब बहुत तेज है, smart है, क्या बात करता है, he did this differently and all that stuff. And I remember one incident. There's an extempore competition, extempore test, wherein they say that 3 minutes. When you are speaking, mine is the next number. Examiner will call me and give me a chit. उस chit के ऊपर topic लगा रहता है. I have to go behind the wings for 3 minutes while this fellow is speaking. I have to think what I need to speak and come and start speaking. And 3 minutes English at that point of time I was okay, but I was not confident that can I really carry on English for 3 minutes. I saw that chit. It had a topic written as cricket. And now I could have talked about the history of cricket, teams, formats and all that stuff. But suddenly, I don't know what happened to me when I came to the stage in front of the mic. I said, in comes Kapil Dev, right arm, pavilion end, Gordon Greenwich. On the batting end, there's the first over of the match. And I spoke out commentary for 3 minutes. वो examiner कह रहे कि यार ये तो मतलब बचपन से commentary सुन रहा है, किसी को भी खिला दो. Straight ball, swinging inside, he got the edge. Gully fielder missed the ball. What a stroke! Has gone out to the boundary. It went on for 3 minutes and nobody stopped me. Commentary finished. I said, thank you so much, sir. So, okay. So you're over? I said, yes. Cricket? What else do I need to talk? Moved out. Many things of this nature happened. And after 5 days of this whole rigmarole of selection process and all, like this only, there were 75 students who had come from different places. We were standing and there's a Major General Sudarji came fully uniformed and spoke, and he said, he gave everybody a speech, and he said that kids, you should not be disheartened. If you are not meant for this, you are meant for something bigger in life. This was a journey for you. This is not your destination. Amitabh Bachchan had appeared for serious and the SSD, he could not really make it. He gave a few more examples of people who have really succeeded in other walks of life. And then he said that good job done everyone. 2 people selected, Ajmer Singh from Chandigarh, Yuvaraj Srivastava from Allahabad. And वो 70-75 जितने भी हीरो बैठे थे ना अगल-बगल, who were speaking fluent English, they were presenting themselves in a very different manner, and we were from a small town who came and did our best without really getting conscious about what the life is all about. We made it, and suddenly we saw all 70 people were around me and Ajmer. Ajmer is still a very good friend, he works with Indian Express, he's a Chandigarh Khalsa. 2 of us got selected, we went to army, did our training and all that stuff. I got trained as a commando after my 6 months of training in artillery. Operated as a commando in valley for many operations, because अगर आप पढ़े लिखे हो जाते हो, आप कुछ अच्छा काम करते हो, तो फिर आपको हर जगह यूज़ किया जाता है. So regiment was in valley, and there was only one officer who got trained as a commando, and that was me. So when I came to the regiment, I was deployed on all the major critical operations, day, night, raid operations, counter-insurgency, ambushes and all. And from there the life started. And now, after leaving corporate army life in '97, it's almost 25 years since I'm in the corporate world. if you look at overall work experience, I started my career at the age of 21. I got commissioned at the age of 21. I got into army at 20. And also 22 I got married, because I think that was also one of the aspirations of getting into army. Settle ho jaye jaldi, life bhi set honi chahiye. So almost 30 years of work experience. And what I'll talk to you with this preface is that life is a big leveler. At every stage you will get an opportunity. At every stage you will get competition. But it's important for you to have belief in yourself and always look at people who can inspire you rather than looking at people who can really make you feel disappointed and not so great. And every 6 months, every time you will get an opportunity to grab. If you will not grab opportunity, you will not be in position to make it. The risk taking in life is very important. When I left army after 5.5 years, you can imagine, small city, captain in armed forces, well settled, father has a huge pride in saying that his son serves in army. Relatives are very, very happy, family is very happy, but suddenly you decide that what's happening? Corporate world was coming up, and you realize that you have spent 6 years in armed forces, but army gives you a great career, but army does not really differentiate good and bad. If you are a captain, you will become a major, everybody will become major at the same time. Everybody will become a lieutenant colonel at the same time. When you become a colonel, that's the time when you get differentiated in terms of your performance. But when you become a colonel, when you are becoming a colonel, your whole service of 16, 17 years is taken into consideration. So any goof up which has happened in the earlier stage may go against you. And that's the time I realized that I think that there needs to be a bigger and wider canvas which can recognize the potential. While you have served, you have done your bit, need to come out, and that's why how I came to Asian Paints. Worked with Asian Paints for 9 years, worked with Oberoi Hotels for 4 years, worked with Pepsi for 5 years, and then for the last 8 years I'm with MakeMyTrip and handling the role of a group CHRO, and life has been extremely, extremely exciting and extremely, extremely fulfilling because of certain things which I'll talk to you all about. Let me now, with this story and the conversation, we had said that we will finish the first session at 11:45, and we will do a bit of furniture. Okay. देखो life में my formula is, you all have come to the campus. 2 years, many people must have come and given you instructions that what you need to do. एक चीज बस ध्यान में रखना कि you don't have to only study. If you only focus on your curriculum, you will miss the larger bus. But at the same time, don't get carried away by doing too much of extracurricular also, because course curriculum is equally important. When I go for the interviews in the campuses, I ask basic questions from the students, what they would have read. If they have studied statistics, I'll ask a couple of questions around that. If they have studied economics, I'll ask a question around that. If they have done HR, I'll ask a basic, some of the frameworks from them. So it's important for you to really focus on your curriculum and know some of the answers of the questions which are high in terms of priority. Don't get carried away by the fact that if your profile shows that you have been a president of this, you have been doing this, you have done so many other things. It will have its weightage, but final weightage is of a caliber what you have done. That is point number one which I'll say. Second is, if I ask you, and I'll give my build up on that. If I ask all of you, don't answer me, right? Just raise your hand. What is the name of the guy who's of Indian origin and is in for prime ministerial race in UK? Just raise your hand. Just raise your hand. Okay, super. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people. Keep it down. Yeah, okay. Who's the Bollywood star who's in the news for the last 1 week because of his bold photo shoot? Just keep it. Keep your hands down. So you saw the difference? Third question. Which state our new president of India belongs to? I would have expected 100% people to raise their hand. Keep your hands down. Last question. What is the name of our newly elected president? 100% चाहिए ऊपर. Still there are people who are not raising hand. Keep it down. See, what I'm trying to say is, life is not about your curriculum. Life is about you knowing many things. I'm not giving answers to these questions. You need to really, and I'm happy that you guys have been genuine about it. My questions would normally be around this, and we assess how alive or aware a person is. जब आप MBA करके निकलते हो 2 साल के बाद में, तो वो तो पता ही है आपकी CGPA चाहे 6 की होगी, चाहे 7 की होगी, चाहे 8 की होगी, आपने पढ़ाई तो की है 2 साल. कितनी अच्छी पढ़ाई की है उसके लिए बहुत टाइम लगेगा डीप में जाने के लिए. But if I ask you to give me 3 movies of Farhan Akhtar, somebody should be able to tell me. It shows that person is not only keen on the studies but also is aware of rest of the things, and that is how personality gets built. What I'm trying to say is that when you study in the campus for 2 years, please ensure that you are also keeping your eyes and ears open to what's happening in the society. And if nothing happens, what will happen, as in, you know what, Mr. Bansal is not here. In our college days in Allahabad, people used to say कि आपने IAS की तैयारी की है ना 2 साल 3 साल, IAS पता है ना, अगर आपने IAS की तैयारी की है, चाहे आप हो पाए या नहीं हो पाए, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, लेकिन वो 3 साल की पढ़ाई करने के बाद आप पढ़े लिखे हो जाते हो और वो जिंदगी भर आपको काम आ जाता है. Because you go through so many things, you go through newspapers, you go through channels, you go through textbooks and all. So study is more about you being an awakened person, an aware person, and every conversation of yours reflects that. Even if you sit in front of a person for 5 minutes for a conversation, you will know that, you know, somebody will know that, you know, how aware you are. So ensure that you are getting aware, not only educated. You are getting awakened, not only educated. You are getting, you know, you are in position to relate with things which are happening around. You are keeping your tentacles open. That will bring your personality to the next level, which will be of help when you get into the corporate world. And forget about corporate world, anywhere in life if you have to progress, right? How we look at the career transitions. And now these are some of the slides which I'll take you through. If you don't like, please tell me, I'll keep moving up. जिंदगी में केवल 6 words होते हैं corporate life में which are important. And all these words stand from word L. And when people come to me, hey, I have got a job offer, how do I really look at job offer? I keep telling people there is a formula of 6L which is designed and coined by me, and many people have really read about this and understood this. The first is location. And most of these are self-explanatory. समझ में आ जाएगा तुमको क्या कहने का मतलब है. लोकेशन का मतलब है अगर कोई बिहार का लड़का है तो वो उसको पौंडीचेरी में जॉब का ऑफर मिल रहा है तो शायद थोड़ा वो हेजिटेंट होगा. बॉम्बे वाले साउथ बॉम्बे, ईस्ट बॉम्बे, सबर्ब्स के आगे पीछे नहीं जाते हैं, उधर ही रहते हैं. तो बॉम्बे वाले के लिए बॉम्बे की लोकेशन इंपॉर्टेंट है. Location is important. Keep in mind which location are you going to work. Level. What level are you going to really work? Second L. Are you going to work at a level which is at the front line? Are you going to work at the level which is a people handling role, or is it something which is strategic? What level in the organization? What hierarchy would you be? That's again important. Third is learning. If you are joining an organization, whenever you take a call, you have joined here. You have joined because you want to do learning. Learning is important. Go to the place where the learning happens. You learn things. I personally say that nowadays learning only happens if you are working with a good set of people. आपके पास 10 लोग अगर अच्छे काम करने वाले हैं, आपको कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर टीचिंग स्टाफ है, अगर सब के सब अच्छे हैं, तो I think that you don't have to really spend too much of time in books. Learning happens with a great set of people. So you ensure that is learning happening or not. Lucre is money. L-U-C-R-E. पैसा कितना है ज़रूरी है. मतलब हर स्टेज में अलग प्रोपोर्शन में ज़रूरी होता है, लेकिन मनी इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट. How much money are you getting? Who are the leaders whom you are going to work with? Evaluate the organizational leaders. And I'll give you an exercise to all of you today when you go back, first search top 30 companies in the country or top 30 CEOs in the country. Just do that search, right? You'll get 30 names, 40 names, whatever names, 20 names. And then look at the profile of these guys on a LinkedIn. Suppose it is Salil Parekh. Let's go and see his profile on a LinkedIn. At least in case of 80% of these CEOs, you will find a similarity. And similarity would be that they wouldn't have really changed job very frequently. They would have spent reasonably good time in every company and they would have taken the juice out of that organization. People who, वो कहते हैं ना कि रोलिंग स्टोन्स डोंट गैदर मॉस, अगर आप केवल घूमते रहोगे तो आप कहीं के नहीं हो पाओगे, आप केवल घुमक्कड़ बन के रह जाओगे. So it's important, you will see all these profiles, people would be either management trainee of these companies or they would have spent 2 or 3 organizations in 25-30 years. You will not find all these big CEOs of the organizations would have reaching this place by jumping the jobs across. So stability in terms of your career would be very important. If you get into the first job, please ensure that you don't start looking at another job very quickly. You spend time, learn there, and spend sufficient time for you to really get the complete juice out of that organization. So that's something which is leisures and longevity. Longevity clear in terms of how much of our time you can spend with the organization, business model of the organization is good or not, sort of a thing. That's something which should really work. What should change? For you, your assumptions need to change now. जब आप कैंपस पे आते हो, तुम लोगों ने बहुत सारे लोगों ने ग्रेजुएशन भी मेरे ख्याल से ऑफलाइन में किया होगा. Am I right? For a couple of years at least, 1.5 years you must have been at home doing your campus. You'll have a lot of assumptions in life. कि मैनेजमेंट कोर्सेज इस तरीके के होते हैं, मैनेजमेंट कोर्सेज में फ़न बहुत है, मैनेजमेंट कोर्सेज में दोस्ती करने का बड़ा मौका है, मैनेजमेंट कोर्सेज इन दिल्ली इज़ एन इंटरेस्टिंग प्लेस टू बी, you can manage to pass without putting too much of effort. Your assumptions would be there that after 2 years of MBA, I'll end up becoming a manager who will have a cabin or a cubicle to yourself. There will be certain assumptions, there will be certain myths. Please recalibrate your assumptions when you are listening to people like us, that what you really do when you get onto the campuses and on the job. Personal priority matrix. कॉलेज में पर्सनल मैट्रिक्स होती है कि शाम को क्लास खत्म होने के बाद चौराहे पे दोस्तों को मिलना है, घर आके बाइक निकालनी है, उसके बाद कुछ और लोगों के साथ टाइम गुजारना है, सुबह डिसीजन करना है कि आज पहन के क्या जाना है, मतलब शुड इट बी अ डेनिम और शुड इट बी अ स्कर्ट और शुड इट बी अ कुर्ता पजामा. वो पर्सनल प्रायोरिटी मैट्रिक्स ना व्हेन यू गेट इनटू द कैंपस एंड पोस्ट दिस एंड इन कैंपस आल्सो इट हैज टू चेंज. एंड माय पर्सनल बिलीफ इज द वे यू conduct yourself, this is, you are known with that persona and personality. It's time for you to break that snap away relationship of your college school days and now get into a professional education mode, and it should reflect in everything: your communication, your dressing up, your personal conduct, your ability to listen, your ability to talk and do a small conversation. Everything starts looking like that and start building on these. Capability versus capability. Capability many people can have. They can be very good in maths, they can be very good in science, they can be very good in economics. But will they be able to cope with the course load which requires a person to spend 3 hours on that? You may say, I am analytical, my mathematical aptitude is good, but that is capability. But will you be able to cope with the load of the course? Because in management courses, it is not that everything is taught in the class. It's not 9 to 5 class. You'll have case studies, you'll have to work with students, you'll have to work with your groups, you'll have to make presentations without any guidance. And this would require huge amount of personal time and sacrifice. Are you ready to do that? And you should need to do that. Readiness for multiple paths. You'll also get to explore. Don't jump into the I want to become a marketeer, I want to become a salesperson, I will join operations or I join HR. Give time to yourself. Give time to yourself at least 9 months once you get into the course. After that, you will be in position to get some more ideas that what is the best thing for you to do. And these are some of the things what I thought I'll talk to you guys. Some of these I already covered. That now life and associated risk is yours. It's not your parents. They have done their bit. They have carried you till graduation, and now they have also given you time to get admission in a college. Now risk is yours. You have to own this decision and you have to make best use of it. Some of you might have come here on your own volition. Some of you might have got cajoled by some people. Some of you might have really done it thinking there are different things, thinking about different priorities in life. But now the time is that the decision is taken. You need to live to your decision and you have to own the decision and own that risk associated with it. You can't really blame anyone. 2 years you will spend here. If you will do a good job of the studies, somebody said that earlier speaker spoke about getting into the depth. Conceptual clarity honi chahiye. Don't look at bullet points, look at concepts. If you can talk on the concept, if you can understand the concept, that's good enough. It remains in the memory for a long, long time. I feel every individual delivers only 3 out of 5. 1 to 5 scale समझ में आती है सबको? First is 1 is bad and 5 is best. In life, everybody is 3. Nobody is 4. Because human potential is immense. And we will never be in position to optimize our strength. कभी भी complete नहीं हो सकता. So everybody is 3. You become 4 only when you are relative, when you are related with others. You become 5 when you are having a relative ranking. Campuses में, courses में, CGPA होता है ना, CGPA, it's all relative, am I right? It's all relative. Don't get carried away by percentiles and the CGPAs which are very high. I know that in IT, JEE, 35-40% marks पे लोगों का admission हो जाता है. They get into the best of the institutions. But that's not their capability, that's only relative capability. In reality, they are less than 3. So in life, when you are evaluating yourself at the campus and post-campus, ensure that you don't get carried away and start rating yourself as 4. You should always rate yourself moderately at 3. And if people say you are 4, you are very happy. If people say you are 5, then you are extremely delighted. But if you start telling yourself 4, then what is the possibility? There is a huge possibility of people telling you 4. You will not be happy. You say, ठीक है, मैं भी तो यही समझ रहा था कि मैं 4 हूँ. अगर किसी ने 3 कह दिया तो you will be disappointed. 5 कहेगा नहीं क्योंकि 5-7% ही लोग होते हैं. So it's important for you to evaluate yourself within your own mind in a real way rather than really getting into the relative ranking. Relative ranking is the prerogative of people who look at everyone, not yours. Yours is to do only evaluation of yourself, absolute in the real sense. Distance versus proximity. Corporate में बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. As a student life also it's very important. And I don't think that I need to explain this much. You have a proximity with your mother, you have distance with your father. But that does not really mean that you don't have proximity with your father. And at the same time, it does not really mean that you don't have distance with your mother. Relationship is defined, right? There's a distance with your grandfather or your uncles, and there's a proximity with your cousins. At the workplace, in the institutions, this formula should really be remembered. You have faculty members, you have college staff, you have your colleagues, you will have your seniors. You need to define this very clearly. That what is my limit, what is my extent, to what level I can really go close to people. Then you will have a lot of diversities of a very high order. What is the distance versus proximity equation for you yourself in every relationship you will have to define. Because if you will not define it, at some point of time you will fall flat on your face. And corporate world it happens a lot. People mistake somebody is being given liberty in a very different way. And suddenly what happens, and people say that you are getting too pally with your boss, you are getting too pally with the system. That is not something what really works. You are constantly evaluated. I go to a place, everybody keeps evaluating me. Here you will be evaluated. You will be evaluating your next friend who is sitting next to you. Each one of you will evaluate yourself in your own mind. And that is the process. Everybody does it. घर में भी होता है. 4 भाइयों में 4 बहनों में कौन लंबा है, कौन छोटा है, कौन अच्छा है. कौन submissive है, कौन aggressive. If you can develop that monk's ability by doing meditation or really looking at reflection thoughts, it doesn't matter. I'm making a presentation, I'm getting evaluated. How does it really matter? I'll tell you, a few days back we had a town hall of MakeMyTrip and go I go. 2000 लोग थे hall के अंदर, 2000 people on a huge stage, and suddenly MC was this guy Apar Shakti Khurana. He's a TV star. He jumped from the stage and he was doing his comparing, and he had to introduce a new session on music. He said कि कोई गाना गाता है, कोई गाना गाता है, कोई गाना गाता है, and my bosses were sitting, my boss and my founder and all of us were sitting in the front. Everybody started looking at me. Yuvraj, 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 Yuvraj. And in reality I do sing a bit. लेकिन उसने जो माइक पकड़ा दिया और 2000 लोगों को आवाज निकल रही थी. And I performed horribly. I tried to pick up one song, I forgot the lyrics, I don't know what is happening, and it was blaring all over, and I gave it back to him. यार बस यही है. तो मतलब जो लोग तालियां बजाते थे युवराज युवराज युवराज, उनका पूरा नशा हेर में हो गया. लोग डिसअपॉइंट, मेरी टीम में लोग कहते कि बॉस क्या किया आपने, बात जगाते हैं यहाँ पे. मैं क्या, I am not getting threatened. I know people will evaluate me. People will evaluate me when I am taking up the mic. But will that really affect me? I don't think it should affect me. It's important for you to be yourself. So what I'm trying to say is evaluations happen in life every now and then. Ensure that it doesn't affect you. If you do a bad presentation, say, sorry folks, I did a bad job. You'll feel extremely relieved. क्यों कंधे से आपने अपना बोझ उतार दिया. Don't get threatened. Workplace is not a congregation of family members. You are forgiven but not forgotten. This also is not a family. Tina may say that it's a family, Mr. Bansal will also come and say we all are family, but in reality your family is back home. उसके अलावा family कोई नहीं है. ये सारा competitive arena है और आपको यहाँ stage पे perform करना है, and you have to do well. And if you don't do well, you definitely are remembered for it. So what I'm trying to say is, don't get into that thought of people will be lenient to you. Because it's a competitive arena. If they are lenient to you, they'll be unfair to somebody else. And they can't be unfair to anyone. Everybody has to be equal. So it's important that, don't take it like that. If you misbehave with somebody in a class, you will be forgiven but you will not be forgotten. आपको उस समय तो कोई कह रहा है कि यार चल ठीक है, I leave it to you. But you will be remembered for your behavior and conduct. So while you are here, ensure that your conduct is up to the mark, because somebody may forgive you, you say sorry and somebody may accept it, but people will not forget that's what has happened. And that is something more important than getting a complete acceptance of apology. Speak your mind, but be mindful in the campuses, in the class. Britishers do it well, Europeans do it still better, Americans don't do it. But it's important. Look at the जो दिमाग में बताओ ना यार क्या प्रॉब्लम है. बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि यार मेरे तो प्रॉब्लम यही है, जो दिल में है वो जबान पर है, मैं कोई चीज़ छुपाता नहीं हूँ. दिस इज व्हाट नॉर्मली पीपल से कि भाई मैं तो बता देता हूँ, बोल देता हूँ. पीपल थिंक दैट दे आर बीइंग वेरी ऑनेस्ट अबाउट इट, बट द फैक्ट इज यू कैन डू इट ओनली टू योरसेल्फ. अपने आप को जो बताना हो बता दो, जैसे बताना हो. लेकिन जब बाकी लोग अफेक्टेड हैं, इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर यू टू स्पीक योर माइंड, बट बी माइंडफुल ऑफ व्हाट यू आर स्पीकिंग, हाउ यू आर स्पीकिंग. Words make difference. Expression makes difference. Body language makes difference. If you won't say it like this, in a manner which is acceptable, nobody will understand what you are saying. People will more understand and gather your expressions and the way of talking. Why I am telling you this is, you have a formative time. And this is your school for 2 years to get groomed and trained for the future life. And if you will not follow these things, suddenly when you go to the corporate world, it will be too much of a shocker. So start thinking that your corporate professional life starts now. Choose your battles. हर लड़ाई लड़ने की नहीं होती है जिंदगी में. You don't need to win every competition. You don't want to be part of every event. You don't need to be part of every case study and do well. You have to choose your battles which are important, not that every battle is to be won. If you try to do this, you exhaust yourself. not talk about this. And the corporate world, what happens? Look at this one. This is skill. Everybody understand this? एक एक्सिस के ऊपर स्किल है. स्किल का मतलब कितना बढ़ गया है बंदा, और ये विल है, और ये एटीट्यूड है. In the corporate world, if skill, you are great in your work, absolutely brilliant, 5 out of 5, but your will or your attitude is on the lower side. People are called brilliant jerks, and nobody in the corporate world wants to work with people who are considered brilliant jerks. People like to work with people who are strong on will and strong on skill. So with a skill, with a capability, it's important for you to develop humility, develop modesty, develop ability to accept others' point of view, and these are the people who are accepted. These are the people who are loved in the organization. They have a will, and even if somebody here has a less amount of skill, this is what it is. Team player, will is high, skill is low. I need a second chance in a new role. The person is not written off. Person is still has an opportunity of doing it. These are the people. If you go to any good manager and say, "क्या फला को रखोगे टीम में?" प्रशांत कुमार है उस टीम का. क्या रिकॉर्ड क्या है? देखिए all 5 ratings for 3 years. But he's the same guy who gets into fight with everyone in every meeting. He's the same guy, but he does a fantastic job. Like, please keep him away. I want people who can have a good atmosphere in my team, right? We have now a question here. Strength. Can anybody read this?
Yes.
This is weakness. This is derailers, and this is drivers. These are 4 elements of personality. Understood? Piche. Heads up. Is it understood? Strength. Personality is strength. Somebody says that my communication is a strength. Somebody says my relationship is a strength. Weakness. My area of improvement. Drivers. What drives me? Recognition drives me. Passion drives me. Teamwork drives me. And derailers. Derailers means some things where I falter. What is most important? What is most important for you to know as a person? How many people say strength? Raise your hand. Okay, nobody says? Use. How many people you say drivers? Okay. How many people say weaknesses? Okay. How many people say derailers? So most of you talked about weakness. It's important to know about weakness, but it's important for you to know about your derailers. What derails you? If you get stressed, you misbehave or you are controlled. My derailer may be that when I get stressed with the work, too many things coming, I lose control. I lose control in terms of the overall organization. So if you have 5 things to do and you are not able to perform and you are getting stressed, and your derailers basically reflect in your personality and behavior when you are stressed, and you will have a lot of stress. So be sure that how do you react when it is a stress time. And if you know that and if you can control it, I think that you can be a better professional. Start telling yourself, बहुत लोग हनुमान चालीसा पढ़ते हैं ना, जब होने वाला है. अब इतने लोग बोल दिए मेरे को, everybody is criticizing, now I'm going to get stressed. And if I'll get stressed, I'll get aggressive. So I don't need to do that. I don't need to do this. If you keep telling about this to yourself, then you come across, you keep winning one hurdle after the other. This is a Sachin Tendulkar's wagon wheel. How many of you are interested in cricket? Most of you would be. 241 versus Australia he scored in Sydney in 2004. And you know what had happened? This is the strokes which he played as a right-handed batsman. And you will see that he has played least amount of strokes in the offside. Because prior to this, for 13-14 innings, he could not score. And he used to get caught in the covers or in the gully. And people said there, this is your derailer. You are not getting your feet in the place and you are getting caught. So this inning he played, he was conscious of his derailers, he did not play that stroke. And he scored how much? 241. So how can he be so conscious for this for almost 1.5 days and score this run? And that is what we need for us. While we are in the campus, in the professional world, we need to be aware of our overall derailers. Thank you so much. This is what I have. Any questions? Anyone?
So, and it was able to compete with the competition that was happening at the time when you joined this?
When I joined this, MakeMyTrip,
Yes.
I think, when it is service industry, more than product, customer service and post sales service is always very important. In the travel space, you need to be very creative and innovative in your product offerings. So if you focus on innovation, not really depend on the laurels of your past, if you focus on customer service, and if you focus on optimizing your cost structures, I think that you can do well. And I think
how can one deal with the dynamic phase?
You're talking about COVID?
No, about this trip. The competition is high now.
Right now.
Yes, sir.
Right now there is, fortunately nobody is listening, not much of a competition, but I think we hold around 55 to 60% market share in the travel online space with 3 brands put together. Our nearest competitors would be around 7 to 8% or 10%. So every third person in a flight, when you go to your home anywhere, is a MakeMyTrip or a Go customer. Out of 18 to 20% hotels which are sold online, about 50 to 60% market share is with us. But that does not, so your question is important from the point of view of if you are leading the market, if you are in a situation where you have a larger market share, you need to still keep yourself ahead of the competition on a regular basis. You can't really lax because we have competition which comes from a small quarters. छोटे शहरों में आपके ट्रैवल पार्टनर्स होते हैं, ट्रैवल एजेंट्स होते हैं, आप फ़ोन करके टिकट मंगा लेते हो, उससे कहते हो कि शिमला में मेरे को 4 रूम बुक करा के दे दो, वो फ़ोन करके कर लेता है. हमारा कंपटीशन अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर से बहुत आता है. So we have been trying to really consolidate all these guys and bring them on our platform. So a lot of small initiatives around innovation and getting all the funnels integrated is something what we are doing. And as a MakeMyTrip, it's getting converted as a super app of travel. Super app of travel in the sense, आपको घर से निकल के घर तक वापस आना 15 दिन के बाद, तो जितनी भी ज़रूरतें हैं आपके बीच में, all that should get covered by me, whether it's a taxi or a train or a metro or a flight or a hotel or a rickshaw, whatever it is, everything should get covered. So it's more or less reached to that stage. Yeah? Thank you. Yes?
So what qualities do you look for in management graduates while hiring?
So I spoke about this. I was telling you that, we look at people who are intelligent but also aware. When you look at people during the hiring process, my questions, as I asked you, some of these questions I would ask people. I also asked, what do you think your mother thinks about you when in terms of areas of improvement? You say, my mother, how does it really matter? I say, no, I think that your mother is the most honest person on the earth, who knows about you inside out and keeps telling you, यार सुबह जल्दी उठो, या खाना टाइम से खाओ, या पापा से ठीक से बात किया करो, या बहन का ध्यान रखा करो, वही बताती है आपको. So people will talk about that. I'll say, if I call your friend in the campus with whom you spent 3 years, what are the 2 or 3 things he'll tell about you? I have also called some people. What's your name? Aditya. So I'll call people, okay, Aditya is here with me, you are his friend. Then campus, yes sir. मैं युवराज बोल रहा हूँ यार, अदित्य के बारे में कुछ चीज़ें बताओ. बड़ा धांसू बच्चा है. मतलब I think sir हर काम पढ़ाई में थोड़ा पीछे था, लेकिन सर इनिशिएटिव पूरा था. So then what happens? Because people work, people real self works. Knowledge, awareness is all fine, but personality and attitude makes a lot of difference. So for us it is attitude of working very hard. If I have to show that slide, what you look at, these are things what you look at. Learn quick, go deep, race with self, set high standards. Learn quick, जल्दी सीखो. आज के ज़माने में वो टाइम नहीं कि 9 महीने का 10 महीने का मैनेजमेंट ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम चल रहा है. You have to hit the road running. Bias for action. Bias for action means you need to really pick up things and run. You should not say plan करता हूँ, देखता हूँ, 3 दिन के बाद आऊँगा. So you look at these qualities with the help of certain questions. But personally, I look at people who are genuine human beings and ready to work hard, and they have toiled in life. That's what makes a lot of difference.
Sir?
Last one, we have.
Last one. Sir, I'll ask you this question in Hindi. I've worked with SpiceJet and we used to contact and talk with MakeMyTrip all the time during the COVID also. So वैसे airlines और जो थर्ड पार्टी पार्टनर्स होते हैं इनका बहुत खट्टा मीठा रिलेशन होता है, अप्स एंड डाउन्स होते हैं। तो जब हमारा रिजर्वेशन उनसे बात करता है, उनका रिजर्वेशन हमसे बात करता है, तो कोविड के टाइम पर जैसे रिजर्वेशंस में 450 मेंबर्स थे, कोविड में 80 हो गए थे, क्योंकि स्पाइसजेट ने भी फायर किया था लोगों को, और मेक माई ट्रिप गोवा वो सब फायर कर रहे थे।
फायर नहीं कर रहे थे, right?
मतलब they were laying off people, they were putting people on wait and everything. So जो लोग काम कर रहे थे they were like कि मैनेजमेंट की तरफ से प्रेशर है and to get the work done even in the offices or at home. तो जो लोग काम कर रहे थे एक्चुअली और जिन्हें वेट पे रखा गया था, उनमें क्या डिफरेंस था कि इनसे ही काम कराना है और इनको वेट कराना है।
वेट किसको करा रहे थे?
Many people, अगर गोवा पीपल से 100 लोग हैं रिजर्वेशंस में, तो उसमें से 20 people were there who were supposed to call instead of 100. So उन 20 में ऐसा क्या था जो 100 में नहीं था?
देखो कोविड के समय तो अलग अलग रिक्वायरमेंट्स थी. There were some people who were available.
Okay.
There were many people who were not available, right? And normally customer service team में ऐसे air supply team वगैरह में you have people who are good in terms of relationship management, right? They manage customers well. At that point of time, it would be more to do with availability of people getting rostered, because everybody was getting exposed to office also. All these teams used to come to office even during that period. So there wasn't much of a difference, but I am saying that it's a question of availability, because everyone is expected to be of a very high order in terms of connections and the relationship management.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Sir, I want to know about your personal journey. You talked about unlearning. So I want to know, when you came from the army to the corporate, what's the one thing that you unlearned and kind of did?
I think one thing which I learned is that every tiger has its own jungle, and he can't be tiger everywhere. If you feel that you are tiger here and you can also be tiger there, that's the biggest fallacy in your understanding. And what I'm trying to link is that, I was a officer in cantonment, right? I used to move out in the vehicles, people used to salute me, and when I used to get into the regiment, people used to stand and all that stuff, right? But when I used to come at the railway station and get into the train, if I did not have a reservation, TT never used to give me any bhav. क्या मतलब आप श्रीनगर से आ रहे हैं तो क्या मैं माला लेकर आऊँ आप? ऐसे मेरे साथ हुई थी घटना. When I had come from Muri and I was Jammu Tawi Express from Jammu to Delhi, and it was one night, whole night travel in the bus, and I had to go back home for certain urgent things, and that fellow told me, I told him that I'm an army officer, I'm on a warrant, मुझे urgent छुट्टी मिली है, can you give me a berth which is vacant? He said, अच्छा? आप आर्मी ऑफिसर हैं तो मुझे तो आपका माला लेकर स्वागत करना चाहिए था स्टेशन के ऊपर. मैंने कहा नहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है. तो I slept under the attendant's berth and laying my newspaper. So I realized in life, you are tiger in your area, in another area you are a normal human being. Nobody recognizes you. So the moment this fact sinks in your mind, you start being humble, modest, and also start importance of human life and value system. So that was something which I changed. When I came from army, when I came to the corporate, I used to work with the labor unions, and they used to call me from a distance. Hey captain, क्या हो रहा है? Nobody could really tell me like that. One would have been to react, other would have been to सब ठीक चल रहा है. So I think it's important to really accommodate and adjust to the realities of it.
All right. Can we have a couple of you on stage for a quick photograph?